Next up, we have the sixth film in the franchise, Invasion of Astro-Monster. This one was released in 1965, directed once again by Ishiro Honda, with the effects by Eiji Tsuburaya. This film has a little bit more of a sci-fi feel to it than the films before it, as well as the films to come. It feels a little bit more like some of Ishiro Honda's sci-fi films with Toho that he did previously, like Battle in Outer Space or Gorath. This one uses the same idea as the last film, where King Ghidorah is used by aliens to attack Earth, and Godzilla has to protect Earth from King Ghidorah. So for the plot in this one, a mysterious planet called Planet X is discovered, and two astronauts from Earth were sent to the planet to investigate. One of the astronauts would be played by American actor Nick Adams, who also starred in The War of the Gargantuas. He was included in the film as a request from an American producer who planned to distribute the film in the United States as a way to help market the film in the United States. His performance in the film is really good, as well as the other actors. If you watch the other Showa-era Godzilla films or some of the other Ishiro Honda-directed sci-fi films, you'll see some familiar faces here, such as Akira Takarada, Kumi Mizuno, and Akira Kubo. So back to the plot, the astronauts arrive on Planet X, and they are told by the aliens living on the planet that they live in fear of being attacked by King Ghidorah. While they're there, they witness King Ghidorah attacking their base. He attacks briefly and then he leaves. The aliens seem friendly, and they ask Earth to borrow Godzilla and Rodan to have them fight King Ghidorah and help them drive King Ghidorah away. In exchange for letting the aliens use Godzilla and Rodan to defeat King Ghidorah, the aliens will give Earth the cure to cancer. So long story short, the aliens end up transporting Godzilla and Rodan to Planet X, and they have a fight with King Ghidorah there and defeat him and drive him away. The aliens give the astronauts a tape that they say contains the directions on how to make the cure. When they get back to Earth, and they play the tape that supposedly has the cure for cancer on it, instead of telling how to cure cancer, it's a tape telling Earth to surrender to the aliens of Planet X. The aliens reveal that they have had King Ghidorah under their control the whole time, and now have Godzilla and Rodan under their control as well, and they threaten to destroy Earth if Earth's leaders do not surrender to them. There's a bit of a romance subplot between Nick Adams' character Glenn and one of the alien women. After the alien's plan is revealed, she ends up telling Glenn that she has fallen in love with him, and she gives him a note that explains how to stop the device that the aliens are using to control Godzilla and Rodan. So after they find that out, they build a device that makes a sound that disrupts the controlling device, and this frees Godzilla and Rodan from the aliens' control, and they're able to fight back against King Ghidorah on Earth. The monsters fight, and eventually they all tumble off a cliff together. King Ghidorah flies away, and they note that Godzilla and Rodan are probably still alive, and the aliens, having their plan defeated and no longer being able to use King Ghidorah, also retreat, and the Earth is saved. This film was pretty good. I had a lot of fun watching it. It's pretty much everything you want from the Showa-era Godzilla films. I liked the more sci-fi setting that this film had. I thought some of the sets looked really great. I liked the alien base and the scene shot on Planet X. They had some good monster fights, such as the one on Planet X when Godzilla and Rodan first fight King Ghidorah, and of course the final battle with Godzilla and Rodan versus King Ghidorah. This one had a little bit more memorable human characters to me compared to a lot of the other films. Two astronauts were likable characters, and the romance subplot between the one astronaut and the alien woman helped make you care about the characters and gave the human plot a little bit more depth than some of the other Godzilla films. This one I thought was pretty good overall. It was just a really solid Godzilla film and a really solid sci-fi film. A negative thing about the film is that it sometimes has some silly moments that Toho tried to force into the film as they started to make the films more and more kid-friendly and marketing towards children instead of all audiences. This film features the infamous victory dance from Godzilla that is often shown as one of the most silly moments in any of the films. This is something that is said to be pushed onto the film by Toho against Ishiro Honda's will. I found a quote from his son Ryuji Honda talking about the inclusion of the victory dance, and he says, When they made Godzilla do that thing, I knew how pissed my father was. He didn't say a word, but he was beyond angry. My father found it humiliating. I'm sure he was telling myself, we did not create Godzilla for that. It is not right. So that's some pretty scathing comments about it. It's unfortunate that Toho wouldn't let Honda direct the film as he pleased, but insisted on adding things to the film that just dragged the film down. And unfortunately, that happens in a lot of the, especially later Showa era films. Another negative thing about the film is that it had a little bit of a lower budget, which led to them using some shots that were already filmed from previous films, such as the Rodan film, Mothra, and Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. So they had to recycle some scenes, so if you've seen those films, you might recognize some of the other scenes from them. I still like the film a lot. It's still a really charming film, and it's still entertaining. I'll give it 3.5 stars out of 5. It's not one of the absolute best films in the franchise, but it's still worth watching in my opinion. If you watched this far, thanks for watching. Next is going to be a review of Ebirah, Horror of the Deep. Until next time, bye.